Scientific suggestions guide us closer to embracing the idea of the body as an energetic system rather than merely a collection of matter. The functions of the body are driven by hidden quantum processes, while matter serves only as their surface, the visible messenger of invisible events. A major contribution to healthcare comes from the insight that it relies on the energetic state of the body, which in turn conditions its physical manifestations. Free pathways for life energy, whatever term we use, are a prerequisite for free and healthy communication among cells. It is important to recognize that humans are at the crossroads of many energies, both within and around them, immersed in waves that carry diverse information. A vibrating universe is our reality. Which vibrations we tune into is our choice. Through thoughts, emotions, and actions, we emit our own frequency patterns into the ether, waves of specific energy. In the context of striving for health and universal progress, one must focus on achieving receptivity and openness to receive this life energy interwoven into all that exists. We must attune our spirit so that, symbolically speaking, we can hear the melody resonating in every particle of the cosmos. By radiating positive vibrations, the energy of goodness, there is no doubt that we contribute to making this world a better and more beautiful place for all beings within it. On the waves of love and goodness, the light within us harmonizes, giving rise to health on all levels. The history of human thought is long and complex, often integrated into various philosophical, religious, theosophical, and mystical frameworks, which view humans as more than merely physical beings. Most often, the emphasis is on affirming a spiritual dimension beyond the reach of our senses and rational knowledge, the very foundation on which the edifice of science rests. Intelligible reality gains tangible form only through mental exploration that reason cannot fully follow. However, perhaps we need not transcend physicality entirely to approach the spirit within us. Perhaps we can start with the assumption that our physicality itself is multilayered, uniting coarse material with subtle matter, which different traditions describe using various terms. In Hindu tradition, this is prana. In Chinese, qi or qi. Many esoteric concepts with tendencies to become more mainstream refer to etheric matter or vis vitalis. Undoubtedly, this is life energy that permeates the body and is the source of its vitality. Whether one adopts an essentialist concept or not, whether this source of energy is placed in a center, such as the soul, or observed purely scientifically as existing within life itself, this life energy is always present. We will examine some of these considerations to demonstrate their relatedness and their potential to describe the same phenomena through different lenses, all intrigued by the same wondrous energy. It is no secret that modern science is also pursuing the perception and even measurement of such life force, which is clearly evident in the bioenergetic bio-photon field surrounding the body, or in esoteric terms, the aura. Kirlian photographs and today's PIP cameras record frequencies of this energy invisible to the human eye. This life energy is sometimes described as scalar waves, and Russian scientist Nikolai Kozyrev referred to it as torsion waves. These waves, or torsion fields, as their name suggests, have a spiral nature. They are impulses of temporal energy that possess neither electromagnetic nor gravitational properties and propagate through the ether at superluminal speed. Far from being the fantasy of a pretentious scientist, numerous undeniable experiments have confirmed their existence. Following Kozyrev, contemporary research by Dr. Klaus Volkamer provides quantitative evidence of the existence of subtle matter, a multidimensional entity forming the underlying structure of elementary particles. This bioactive etheric matter is spatially unbounded, all-pervading, interwoven, non-electromagnetic, and capable of transmitting impulses at superluminal speeds. In other words, all coarse physical matter, rests on subtle foundations. This makes sense when we consider the numerous enigmas concerning the perfect and inexplicable functioning of the undeniably intelligent human body. This subtle etheric matter is imperceptible to the senses, yet according to Volkamer, it possesses a complex visco-energetic spatial structure and real mass, making it possible to measure its influence. Around all macroscopically measurable bodies, these subtle life-giving fields exist, just as even microscopic particles possess an invisible, subtle energetic structure. This structure is formed by elementary particles of subtle matter as multidimensional submicroscopic entities at the etheric level. The subtle energetic field enables life within the body, stores all information, and serves as the matrix upon which the substantive body develops and grows. These studies are part of a demystifying endeavor by many scientists willing to tackle the subtle foundations of reality. Their goal of uncovering the nature and totality of the material has led them to its invisible wave sources interwoven through every outline. Also included are current studies following Tesla's research, which examined the concept of luminiferous ether and non-Hertzian waves, forms of energy quite distinct from those recognized by conventional science. The KGE model assigns the concept of life force a dignified position on the spectrum of all spatiotemporal phenomena as a hyperfine substance, composed of predominantly wave-like, superluminal objects, whose density indicates their placement in the dimensions of our spiritual reality. It is likely no coincidence that the term ether and etheric energy is frequently used to describe the invisible source of all energies, often with mystical connotations. Considering that the etymology of ether comes from Greek meaning light, it becomes clear why we focus here on the study revealing the luminous essence of humans. Dr. Fritz-Albert Popp, a German biophysicist, confirmed that the body is immersed in and surrounded by light, describing it as the Bio-Photon field. Award-winning journalist Lynn McTaggart, in her renowned book The Field, reports Popp's remarkable discoveries, suggesting the multidimensionality of humans and linking to the aforementioned scientific findings. Science is indeed advancing toward the spirit. As a biophysicist at the University of Marburg in the 1970s, Popp examined the influence of electromagnetic radiation on living systems. He exposed one of the most carcinogenic compounds, benzoylpyrene, to ultraviolet UV light and discovered that it possessed optical properties, absorbing light and then emitting it at a different frequency. Repeating the experiment with benzoylpyrene, which is harmless to humans due to a slight molecular difference, he found the light passed unchanged. Testing 37 other chemicals, Popp discovered a method to predict their carcinogenic potential. Carcinogenic compounds absorbed UV light and re-emitted it at a changed frequency, all responding to a wavelength of 380 nanometers. He further discovered that the photorepair process worked optimally at this wavelength, the same wavelength to which carcinogenic compounds reacted. Photorepair, a biological laboratory phenomenon, involves fully repairing damage to cells, including DNA, caused by UV exposure in a single day, using very low-intensity light at that precise wavelength. Popp recognized the connection between these frequencies and deduced that the light responsible for photorepair was blocked by carcinogenic compounds. Removing this block could, theoretically, allow the process to heal cancer. Accepting to mentor Bernard Ruth for his doctoral thesis, Popp tasked him with constructing sensitive equipment capable of detecting this weak light. Within 2 years, Ruth built a photomultiplier device that detected photons one by one. Amazingly, living systems did indeed emit photons, first observed in cucumber seedlings and later in potato plants grown in darkness, demonstrating that the effect was independent of photosynthesis. The emitted photons exhibited high coherence, implying quantum-level entanglement and communication among subatomic wave particles, behavior akin to that of superconductors under extreme laboratory conditions, not disordered warm environments. These biophotons act as a highly coordinated communication system among cells, storing and transmitting information essential for biological processes. Experiments revealed that DNA is the primary source and coordinator of this emission, vibrating billions of times per second and releasing photons carrying the information of its state to other photons within and around the body. This explains how a single cell develops into a fully formed human being, guiding precise placement during growth to form correct anatomical structures. Traditional DNA theory focused on chemical interactions could not explain this coordinated orchestration. Modern science acknowledges that DNA somehow builds and directs the body's dynamic activities, but not how it synchronizes billions of simultaneous processes. Every cell conducts approximately 100,000 chemical reactions per second, necessitating a system that synchronizes genetic and cellular activity. The coherence of living beings demonstrates strict orchestration, not random collisions. Cellular communication exists from the earliest embryonic stages and continues throughout life. Daughter cells know which genetic information to activate based on their roles, coordinating with neighboring cells to fit into a complex, harmonious system. The speed and precision of these processes reveal that proteins alone cannot account for development. An underlying conductor, the DNA biophoton emission structure, guides the symphony of life. Rupert Sheldrake, a later member of Popp's team, observed that genetic theory alone could not explain autonomous regulation or growth. He proposed formative causality and morphic fields, suggesting that organisms self-organize through cumulative memory and resonance, storing the correct forms across generations. Popp's biophoton theory addresses morphogenesis, coordination, and cellular communication, with weak light emissions functioning as conductors of these quantum events. Alexander Gurvich, 1874 to 1954, had earlier suggested that electromagnetic fields, rather than chemicals, guide cellular structural formation, a theory later confirmed experimentally. Weak radiation from tissues stimulates growth in neighboring cells. Neuroanatomist Harold S. Burr studied electrical fields around organisms, observing energy patterns even in unfertilized eggs and seedlings. Popp's experiments demonstrated that all living beings, from plants to humans, emit a constant stream of photons, correlating with evolutionary complexity. The more complex the organism, the fewer photons emitted. When exposed to light, living cells absorb it and then re-emit it after a delay, a process called delayed luminescence. This maintains a light balance. Popp's laboratory measured human light emission down to a few photons per minute. Observing a healthy 27-year-old woman over 9 months, he noted coherent patterns of biophoton emissions synchronized between left and right hands, aligned with circadian and metabolic rhythms. Deviations were observed in cancer patients where coherence and natural periodic rhythms were lost, reflecting disrupted cellular communication. Stress similarly increased emission rates as the body attempted to restore balance. In multiple sclerosis, overcoherence led to inhibited cellular function. Balance and moderation are therefore essential to health. Biophoton emission serves as a correction mechanism, maintaining energy equilibrium against minor fluctuations. The healthiest bodies emit the least light, approaching the system's 0 point. Popp's findings suggest a coherent communication system underpinning life, far beyond random processes or neo-Darwinian explanations. DNA's frequencies act as an informational tool, potentially guiding regeneration and explaining phenomena like phantom limb sensations. Biophoton emissions also allow assessment of food quality. Coherent, weak light indicates vitality. Illness corresponds to disrupted communication at the subatomic level, manifesting when cellular waves fall out of sync. Despite initial resistance, Popp's work gained recognition decades later, leading to the formation of the International Institute of Biophysics, uniting 15 research groups worldwide. Resonance waves extend beyond the body, mediating communication among living beings. Experiments with water fleas, fish, sunflowers, and bacteria demonstrated photon exchange, suggesting quantum-level coordination. This mechanism may underlie healing, telepathy, and clairvoyance. Certain plant extracts, such as mistletoe, can restore coherent biophoton emission in cancer cells, supporting recovery. Homeopathy and acupuncture are interpretable within this framework. Homeopathy as resonance absorption, acupuncture as targeted modulation of qi along meridians. Points on meridians display reduced electrical resistance and respond to low-frequency stimulation by releasing endorphins and corticosteroids, or high-frequency stimulation affecting neurotransmitters like serotonin. Popp's scientific insights guide us toward viewing the body as an energetic system, governed by hidden quantum processes, with matter as the visible messenger. Health depends on free life energy pathways and harmonious cellular communication. Humans exist at the intersection of countless energies, immersed in waves conveying information. Our thoughts, emotions, and actions emit frequencies affecting ourselves and others. Understanding and harnessing these flows enhances health, well-being, and alignment with universal forces. Positive vibrations harmonize the light within, generating holistic health. Yet this light is never solely ours. It belongs to the entire universe. We are waves within the field of one, and each vibration, thought, and deed carries responsibility, manifesting in the interconnectedness and unity of all existence. Please like our video and subscribe to our channel.